Welcome in, college football fans. It's another episode of the Fan Addict on the Fan Addict Sports Network. I'm here to talk Clemson Tigers versus Florida State. Oh, it's a big matchup in the ACC to see who's gonna come up with the early season power control or whatever you want to call it in the race to see who's gonna get to the championship. So let's get into it.
The fanatic, where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk, you know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina, upstate, A64. Yeah, the FANATTIC, the fanatic, where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what.
All right, man. So, of course, we talking Clemson, Florida State. We got our two guests from Florida State back up in the house, man. They did a great job. A lot of the commenters like their chemistry and their knowledge of the Seminoles. So we're going to bring it back in so that we can talk more Seminoles versus try and take on the Tigers and get that win they haven't got in Clemson in a while, man. So let's go ahead and bring them on. First up, man, we got Coach Harrelson. What's going on, Coach?
What's up? Go
Hey,
Noles.
man. How you feeling, man? How you feeling while the Noles are undefeated still?
Yeah, we're undefeated. Gave a little bit of a scare this past weekend. Looking forward to this weekend. We hadn't had, a lot of success. Last time I was at Clemson was 2013, where we put the beat down on the Tigers. I'm hoping we can have a repeat this year. I'm not sure it'll be that bad, but I feel good going in the game. As long as we can, play well.
Are you going to the game this weekend?
Well, I've tried many avenues, and noon doesn't help. I wasn't excited about noon.
Yeah.
And unless somebody gives me some tickets here in the next few days, I will be watching it from home probably.
I got you. I think y'all can thank Clemson's loss to Duke for the noon game. So
yes, absolutely. Which I think helps us. Listen, I've been in Death Valley on a night game, and it did not end well for us.
Yeah, I think the road team actually fares well in a lot of series when it's that noon snoozer. So I think you're right. You're right. The Death Valley night games is something that definitely you want to avoid. So
absolutely.
All right, man. Let's bring in our next guest. It's my guy, Stacey Derico. What's going on, Derico?
Hey, what's going on, Coach I? What's going on, Coach H? So I should change my name to Coach J.
Yeah. That's right, man. That's right. Y'all got that win, man. We watching it on Saturday, man. How you feeling after that win over Boston College, man? Y'all still undefeated?
Yes, we're still undefeated, and I'm happy about that, even though it was a squeaker, you know what I'm saying? But you and I talked about it, a 12 o'clock game in Boston College is like a lot of different things that ran into that issue. And then come to find out, probably half the team had that what they call the tally flu. So, they wasn't feeling too well, but they brought it out. So I'm glad we got it there, healthy. And that's a good thing, healthy and a W.
That's right, man. And that's what I try to tell people, man. When you're on the mission to try to win conference championships or national championships, it's all about surviving and advancing, baby. All we count around here is W's and L's because nobody remembers that when you're hosting the trophy, right? So that was just a little recap. I mean, we can talk. So what do you guys think was the problem going into Boston College? Was it the overlooking them, looking ahead to Clemson coach? Or was it just it was no energy in the stadium? It's Massachusetts at noon. What do you think it was?
I think it was a combination of everything.
Yeah.
The weather kind of, I won't say cold. It wasn't cold, but windy and rainy, and you're on the road. It's really your first true road game. I know Orlando with LSU was a road game, but and then the fact, obviously, I mean, they're still 18 to 22-year-olds. Obviously, they're going to look forward to Clemson this week. And then you throw in the flu, and I'm not going to put much into that. I mean, I think that does probably have some to do with it. And actually, it's funny going back and watching the game a second time. You can tell there's a couple guys out there that aren't quite given the effort they did the first 2 weeks. And, it's an emotional game for BC. They red bandana game. They kind of, that's a big game for them every year. I know the score was a 2-point game, but if you take away the beginning and really in the middle, we dominated in the middle. Now we made some boneheaded plays at the end, and I don't know if we got up. We were up 31-10, and maybe we relaxed, and then just didn't keep pushing the pedal. But I think it was a combination of all those things, and I to me, of course, I'm biased. I think it wasn't really a 2-point game.
Yeah.
In the end.
Well, I mean, we were watching the game, and I want to say, what y'all up like 24-0, or it was a big lead. I do know that, and I was almost about to tell Stacey, like, let's turn it to another game, man. And then, like you say, made some
we were down 10-3.
10-3,
and came back and scored 28 straight points. Went up 31-10.
Yeah.
In the third quarter, and then I think we relaxed. I think some guys were gassed.
Yeah,
because they were not feeling well. But anyway, we let them come back, and we shouldn't have. We could have, there was one third down late. If we got a stop and went and scored, it's now 38-10. They probably quit.
Yeah.
But that's football. That's sports.
That's right, Stacey. I mean, we was watching. I think it was a little bit of lack of focus there after getting up big.
Right. I mean, that it can happen. You know what I'm saying? Like Coach H was saying, you got these 19, 20-year-old kids up there, in Boston, not really feeling it, coming off a win last week that was big and probably peeking ahead to Clemson. I'm going to say peeking. I'm not saying that they were totally looking ahead at Clemson, but I think there was a few eyes looking up there. But I think it's also a good opportunity for them to learn from this, where you got to stay focused. You just can't let an opponent that you're supposed to beat, especially if you're reading I like the term reading the press clippings. If you saw that there was a 26 or 24 point, underdog, you probably thought that was going to be a little cakewalk, but it wasn't. So I'm just hoping that the team will learn from this, the coaches will learn from this, and also us fans, that we can learn from this as well. Like, don't take it for granted that that we have a good team, the number 3 team, probably now number 4, because we slid because of the 2-point win, but we still got to maintain that humbleness.
That's right. And I know a little bit about that, man. I think sometimes when you are a prohibited favorite in the game, you think you can roll out there, uniforms and helmets, and then just walk out with the big dub, but that's not always how it is, man. So on the reverse side, Clemson did beat Florida Atlantic pretty handily. I think in the 40s or some 63 or so. I don't know. It was crazy big. But it's what was to be expected. They did, it was a little skirmish. I ain't gonna say it was a skirmish, a little disagreement between Will Shipley and the GOAT CJ Spiller. So, but I think that was just some fiery competitiveness from Shipley's part. So I'm pretty sure Dabo's gonna handle that internally. But moving on to this game. Okay, go ahead, Coach.
Chipotle now. He just signed an NI deal with Chipotle, and it's now Chipotle.
Hey, listen, he was spicy on Saturday. I can tell you. He was not happy about not getting that carry to try to get into the end zone. But we could talk about that Clemson offense now, man. And to Shipley, Shipley scored 1 receiving touchdown this year, but he hasn't had any rushing touchdowns this year. And you're talking about somebody who's had 26 rushing touchdowns over the past 2 years. He hasn't crossed the goal line yet this year. Actually, I think Moffitt might be running a little bit better. It's definitely in the red zone. He's a load down there, but Shipley is asked to do a lot with blocking and catching out of the backfield more so than Moffitt. But Clemson's offense, man, Stacey, what do you want this Florida State defense to do? You guys were like spot on when we did the LSU Florida State preview. Little things like Coach said, Harold Perkins spying Jordan Travis. Why he would do that, I don't know, but he did, and it worked out well for Florida State. So what do you want this Florida State defense to do to try to corral this Clemson offense?
I mean, we need some more push up front. I mean, we talked about this too. Like, when I see verses just disappear during games, I mean, you're the best player out there on the defensive front. So I need to see you create some havoc. And hopefully this will be the week that he breaks out. Because if he's like any other good player, if he hear the chatter about, Okay, where's versus? Where's versus? I mean, that's what we need. We need you to be the man. I remember the time when we only had one rusher out there that was Mr. Johnson that transferred over, and he did what he had to do in order to
Yeah,
get this team and take them on their back. So that's what I need from this team. Versus, I think we get our safety back this week. He was out, so that was another thing that we missed last week, not having that quarterback in the back. So those two things, and just be disciplined.
I
Just be
got you.
disciplined.
I got you. I don't know if Cade Cublet coaches what Clemson fans thought it would be, or maybe he's coming around. But he looks sometimes when you can get that pressure in his face, he retreats to his high school ways where he's backing up and things of that nature. How you think you guys will be able to get back there and pressure him and cause different looks and things of that nature?
Well, I think we definitely missed Dent this past week. We had Kevin Knowles back there at safety, who he's played cornerback since he's been at Florida State. He kind of transitioned to safety this year. I don't think he's quite ready. We kind of missed Dent back there. I also think, and this is, every fan has an opinion. I think we have relied too much on our defensive line to get pressure. And I think teams have kind of, I think definitely Boston College game plan for that. If you notice the last two plays of the game where we sent blitzes from the corner, got right to the quarterback. I think we need to be more aggressive with our blitzes. We hadn't blitzed much this year.
Yeah.
I think Verse has gotten chipped and double teamed, and heck, if I were the team, I would do it too.
Yeah.
So, and Klubnik's a different quarterback than what we faced between Daniels with LSU and Castellanos with BC, who I was really, really impressed with.
I did not know he could run like that.
No. And I kept yelling at the TV, somebody spy him, and we never did. But when we sent a corner pressure late in the game and got to him, we got him down. And Klubnik's a different type of quarterback, so I'll be interested to see. And I hope you're right. I hope we get in his face and he makes some of those high school throws.
Yeah, I mean, I know we all know defensive coordinators like to get pressure with just 3 or 4 so they can drop 7 or 8. But you're right. If somebody is, which every team is going to do this year, they're going to plan for Jared Versus, probably top 2, 3 best pass rushers in the nation. But you got to start manufacturing some pressure because while I don't think Cade Klubnik is Trevor Lawrence or anybody, if you give him time back there, any decent quarterback is going to be able to pick you apart. Now, they did lose wide receiver and Cole. I want to say Cole Turner is out for the year, but the local kid, shout out to Tyler Brown, stepping up. And I think you'll see a lot of Tyler Brown and Antonio Williams on the field at the same time this weekend, and trying to move the ball. They got a formidable rush offense. So I think that's how they're actually going to attack you, because they want to keep that Florida State offense off the field, and what I've been noticing in college, and we talked about this Saturday, first halves are going by like nothing. I mean, because of the new don't stop it after a first down rule. It's like, I'm watching the Georgia game, and it's like we got 4 possessions, and one of those was with 50 seconds left in the first half.
We had 2 against Boston College, 2 in the first half.
That is crazy. So I think, it is imperative for defenses, especially, in this game of this magnitude, to get off on third down as well. So you got to get off the field on third down to give your offense a little bit more shots at the end zone. So, but on the reverse side, man, that FSU offense, I know you guys said some of the guys didn't look like they were moving, at the same pace or whatever. How you feeling, Coach, about that FSU offense going into Death Valley, where you guys, outside of 2013, haven't had a lot of luck the last 10 tries?
Well, we've had 2 offensive linemen who have not played the last 2 weeks from injury. I'm hoping they'll be back. One's our starting center, who started, this was his 3rd year starting at center. And then Robert Scott, who's kind of plays guard, tackle, whatever. And this is the one year we've kind of can absorb some of that because we have some depth, but still those guys are experienced. It's funny, Coleman had such a huge game against LSU, and he only had 4 targets against Boston College, which he may have tweeted something about that
I was wondering
today.
about that.
So, Bell kind of got dinged up against Boston College, so he didn't. Actually, Johnny Wilson came back and had a really good game.
Yep.
He didn't have any drops, thankfully, against BC. And Benson, he just hasn't.
Not looked like last year.
He has not gotten the ball and taken off. It's almost like he's kind of hesitant now. Rodney Hill's backup has been more aggressive. And I'll say this about Jordan Travis. I feel like the first 3 games, he is looking more for the home run instead of what's there.
Moving
and
the
I
ball
think he
down
maybe
the field.
got kind of, with the first game, Keon Coleman, 3 touchdowns, home run plays.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, the 6-yard play on second down is just as good.
Yeah.
And one thing I did notice when I went back and watched it is after he got hurt on the zone reads, he handed it off every time. He did not pull it. And that's part of our game is him pulling it and running it. And I don't, obviously he was hurt. I think he'll be fine for this Saturday. But
okay,
if people know he's going to hand it, that's a big advantage
not
for
really,
the defense.
Yeah, it's not really RPO anymore. It's just
right.
It's just the handoff. So yeah,
Yep.
Definitely. So Stacey, talking about Jordan Travis, I mean, I guess you guys will know later on this week if he's 100% or if he's a go, but not 100%. But who needs to have a good game this weekend? I mean, like you said, Wilson has had a game here or there where he's like, some catches, I would say, not a game, but where he dropped some. Keon Coleman didn't get targeted. Bell ain't, Benson ain't the same. It's like this offense got a lot of weapons, but who needs to be good Saturday in Clemson?
I mean, Coach just really stole some of my thunder, especially when you pinpoint Benson being MIA. And I'm not sure why that is. Like you said, it could be his hesitancy. It could be the fact that he needs to get the ball a little more earlier to get involved in the offense. Because that's one thing I did notice. Like we have been throwing the ball more often than I would like sometimes, especially in early down situations. So if we can establish the run, I know it's going to be difficult to try to establish a run and be effective, but at least you got to give it the illusion that you're trying to establish a run so that you can open up the passing game. And the one thing I don't like, since y'all were talking about the health of Jordan Travis, he has to stop trying to be Superman on the sideline to get out of bounds. He can't take unnecessary hits. That's the one thing that I was watching on Saturday. It's like, dude, just go down or get out of bounds. You don't need to take unnecessary hits. So if we start with Benson establishing the run, open up the pass game, Travis being smart with the ball, and like Coach said, don't try to go for the long ball. Get what the defense gives you.
And you definitely don't want Jordan Travis taking those unnecessary hits because we also talked about the guy that's backing him up. I think Rodemaker or whatever. That's definitely a drop off in talent. Not that every team doesn't have a drop off, but that's a significant drop off. Coach, you think it's some of the throwing a lot? You think it's the OC trying to use the pass to set up the run when, in some of these games, especially this one, you might use the run to set up the pass?
I don't know, because you watch the first few drives, the only 2 drives we had in the first half, we ran it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first run, Benson had 8 yards and 6 yards, and then there was Keon dropped one he should have caught. It's hard. I mean, you can imagine an offensive coordinator, which really is Alex Atkins is the offensive coordinator, but really Mike Norvell is
calling the
plays.
Yeah.
You got all these weapons. It's like a juggling act trying to keep them all happy.
Yeah.
So to me, it's hard. I wouldn't want to have to script the plays,
Yeah.
but I think, I think if they're mature enough, and I think they are experienced enough to know this might not be your game, but there's going to be a game coming up where it will be your game.
I
You
like
know,
that.
You
that
if
is.
somebody has a good game this week, well then teams are going to key on that. Well, that's going to open up for you next week. And
Right.
if it gets into the selfish, I'm not getting touches, that's not good for anybody. But if you're
No.
mature enough, and I think this is a very mature team as far as experience that they will understand, you know, we all eat if, we win.
Yeah, and I mean, simple logic. I mean, you guys got lots of weapons. Simple logic says everybody can't have a great game every game. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
not everybody's going to get 10 carries or 10 catches for 200 yards. It's
no, it just
Yeah. It's not
the
nothing.
number of touches doesn't even allow for it. So you
right.
have to like you say, you have to be sold on the championship long-term vision and say, all right, well, when you're eating, I'm over here blocking or whatever, and then next week it might be me. Whenever it is, step up. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it'll show more, down the season as things play out to see if it actually is a problem. I don't think right now it is. It's early on
Yeah,
in the
if
season,
Yeah.
if
but
if we're playing on the second week in January, then the whole world's watching. So you can,
Exactly.
exactly. Just hey,
yeah,
just
Exactly.
just do good then.
yeah,
It's
yep.
that's all that matters. So man, we're gonna jump over to some keys to the game and some predictions. So yeah, just for those that don't know, like you said, the Clemson does have a 7-game stretch on you guys right now. And then up in Death Valley, just at Death Valley, the last 10, you guys have won one, the one coach talked about in 2013. So you guys are looking to kind of right the ship up there in Clemson, South Carolina. I think Jordan Travis's health, I'm assuming that he's 100, but his play is what I think is the key to the game. Whether it be running the ball, and I think he does need to run some. I don't think he needs to run a lot, but no turnovers by him and getting the ball into the playmakers' hands. And like Coach said, don't always have to. You can't. We used to say it in basketball. There's like you down 14. There's no 14-point shots. Just
Mhm.
keep hitting a couple layups and free throws, and then you'll come back and not looking for that big play all the time. So, Stacey, what you guys the key to the game, man, to walk out of Clemson with the victory Saturday?
You already hit one. No turnovers. We can't be losing the turnover battle on Saturday. Just not an option. Can't sleepwalk just because it's 12 o'clock game. That's two. And three, Coach H, you already said it. Be more aggressive on defense. Don't rely
Mm,
on the front four. Bring some pressure from elsewhere.
okay, that's it, Coach. What you got as the key to the game to try to come out of Clemson with the victory?
You got to have a good start. We have not had a good start in any of the three games. We have given up a quick touchdown, quick, that keeps the crowd out of the game. Um, I do think for one time in a long time that maybe we have an advantage in the kicking game. And you're talking
Hmm.
about a close game, according to Vegas, 1.5. It may come down to kicking. I think the Clemson kicker has really struggled so far. Now I've seen our kicker struggle too in past years, but he's been pretty consistent so far this year.
Don't bring
Yeah.
back those
Um,
memories.
yes, and I don't think showing up to play will be an issue if you can't get fired up for this game. And this is basically you can basically stamp your way to the AC championship game with a win Saturday. And we haven't been able to do that in a long time. And if that doesn't get them fired up, then I don't know what will. I think we'll be prepared. I think we'll be excited to play. I think a good start is huge for us.
Yep, I think all of those are keys, man, and I think Vegas actually has it now at 2.5 your way. You are a 2.5 point favorites. I think that's huge in this game because normally you get 3 points as the home team, so they're saying you're almost a touchdown better. I think you guys go in there and get the victory. I think I'm not sold on Clemson's offense. I think Will Shipley has to do way too much for Clemson's offense, and I think he's like sometimes he's just too much on him. Maybe gets burnt out. You have way more options on offense. I think if you slow down the run and they have to pass, like I say, I like Antonio Williams and Tyler Brown, but they're not the T Higgins, the Mike Williams, those guys. So give me Florida State a 31-21. What you got, Stacey?
I almost said, you better not say my score. You almost said it. I was like, don't say it. I'm going 31-24 FSU.
There it is. Coach, what you got?
31-20.
31-20. Yeah, I do think it's going to be in that range. I think Clemson still has good guys on defense, so I don't think it's going to be a shootout of any kind, because I definitely don't think they definitely don't want that because I don't think their offense is built for those kind of games, man. But definitely appreciate y'all coming back on, man. That's the Florida State Clemson preview. Y'all get in the comments, tell us what you think, what we might have missed, what you like, and then give your score predictions, man. This Saturday, 12 o'clock. Is this on ESPN or is this ABC? We know.
That's a good question.
Noon, you never know. It might be on PBS.
Right.
Who knows?
You know?
Might be on the new CW or something like that, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be on ABC or the ESPN network of families. But
Yes.
for my guests, Stacey, Derico, and Coach Harrelson, man, this is Fan Addict Coach I. We out of here.
Come rock with me. We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the Fan Addict, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?